Hello, my name is Lindsay Taranoni. I found an article written by Christine Fuller, a medical doctor. The article is posted in Psychology Today. The title of the article is called Eating Disorders. It's Not About Food. It was published March 22nd, 2017. The article goes into detail about triggers for eating disorders and how self-esteem is affected by society, and how people need to find treatment for an eating disorder. In the article, It's Not About Food, it explains why an eating disorder can begin for some people. People have this build-up image based on the society we live in today, and how people need to understand the trauma that stems from this disorder. It is portrayed by television, makeup commercials, social media, and cosmetic procedures about an image that everyone wants to portray. People want to feel like they are healthy, young looking, and achieve the perfect weight to be accepted. It begins the pressure to be perfect and increases the person's anxiety. When the person sees that they are not still at the point where they seem to be appropriate to be accepted, the person's self-esteem and self-worth reaches the lowest point and begins abuse with self-harm such as dieting pills and laxatives. The person's mental health begins to deteriorate because they build up this idea of who they expect themselves to be in order to be accepted. In the United States, there are 20 million women and 10 million men that are currently living with an eating disorder. People that are dealing with an eating disorder may not realize that they are in a crisis, and family may try to intervene, but in reality, a person will only seek treatment if they want to. In the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, there is a list of eating disorders called anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, binge eating disorder. Anorexia nervosa is the top killer of all mental health disorders. The other two that are listed are called avoidant restrictive food intake disorder and the other specified feeding and eating disorder. The most similar thing that all these disorders have is trauma. The American Psychological Association explains that trauma from abuse, having low self-esteem, bullying from others, poor parental relationships, a borderline personality disorder, substance abuse, non-suicidal self-injury, having a perfect personality, and having difficulty communicating emotions all are triggers that can develop from an eating disorder. 30% who cut themselves will begin to binge and purge. The connection of trauma and eating disorders begin with the person going through events such as being assaulted physically or sexually, living in foster care, emotional abuse from parents or in a relationship. The person tries to achieve some sense of control by monitoring their food habits and physical health. This will lead to anxiety and fear for the person because they are constantly looking for the next step to achieve, to fit in and be accepted by society. It is a cycle that includes self-guilt and the feeling that they are lost, and it goes on and on until they find treatment. When the person cannot escape the cycle or recognize that this is a real issue, the person should be treated a suicide attempt is made or will occur. The treatment for an eating disorder needs to include psychotherapy, which will help with coping mechanisms, understanding the triggers that help begin the disorder in the first place, and how to overcome trauma that has occurred. Another therapy called cognitive and dialectical behavior will enforce a positive, healthy body image and help build relationship with others. The person will build self-esteem and also improve mental health. There is also a medication called fluoxetine, which will help with anxiety and depression. This also lowers the amount for binge eating and purging. Treatment for an eating disorder takes time. There is not a perfect solution to it. Each person needs to figure out what the best treatment is for themselves, and they need to include their health counselors and also include their loved ones.